English Edge podcast.
From the English Clarity Lab.
Hello and welcome back to the English Clarity Lab. I'm Mary, your analytical guide through the sometimes chaotic, sometimes beautiful world of the English language. And sitting across from me, looking slightly caffeinated and mildly terrified as usual, is my co-host, James. How are you doing, James?
Hey, Mary. Well, to be completely honest, I'm okay now, but about 2 hours ago, absolute disaster. I was trying to order breakfast at this new cafe down the street, right? And I wanted, that flaky, buttery pastry, the French one, shaped like a crescent moon.
A croissant?
Yes, a croissant, exactly. But my brain completely refused to cooperate. I just stood there staring at the barista like a broken vending machine. I think I actually pointed at the glass and said, "Give me the golden bread curve, please." It was, not my finest hour.
The golden bread curve. Honestly, James, that sounds incredibly poetic, but what you experienced there is exactly what we are dissecting in today's laboratory. It's that terrifying moment when you are speaking a second language, you know exactly what you want to say in your head, but the specific English word just evaporates.
Evaporates is the perfect word for it. It's like a magic trick, but a really bad one where the magician just ruins your confidence. My mind just completely went blank. Is that normal, Mary, or is my brain just uniquely lazy?
It is entirely normal, James, and your brain is definitely not lazy. It's actually working overtime. When you are operating in a non-native language, your brain has to navigate a massive web of vocabulary, grammar rules, and pronunciation guidelines all at the same time. When stress or fatigue hits, the pathway to a specific word can get temporarily blocked. In linguistics, we call this a retrieval failure. But colloquially, as you just beautifully demonstrated, we say our mind goes blank.
Okay, well, knowing that my brain isn't fundamentally broken makes me feel a bit better, but it doesn't change the fact that when it happens, I look like a deer staring into oncoming traffic headlights. What are we supposed to do in that exact second when the word just slips our mind?
Notice what you just used there. When the word slips our mind, that is our second target phrase today. When something slips your mind, it means you forgot it temporarily. It's gentle, it's natural, and native speakers use it constantly. To answer your question, the very first thing you need to do is stop treating the forgotten word like a crime scene. You don't need to freeze. Instead, you need a conversational survival kit. We've broken this kit down into 2 levels today, the beginner placeholder level for A1 and A2 learners, and the advanced stalling level for B1 and B2 learners.
Ooh, I love a good toolkit. Let's start with the beginner stuff, because when I was standing there looking at the croissant, I didn't need a complex linguistic theory. I just needed to buy myself some time without looking like a complete robot.
Exactly. For our A1 and A2 learners, the most powerful tool in your vocabulary is the placeholder word. When an object's name slips your mind, you don't stop talking. You substitute the missing noun with the placeholder, like, "What's it called?" or "What'd you call it?"
Wait, so I could have literally said to the barista, "Can I get one of those, what do you call it's, in the display case?"
100%. It sounds incredibly natural. Native speakers use "what's it called" dozens of times a day because our brains get tired too. When you use a placeholder, you are signaling to the other person, "I know what this thing is, I just can't find the name right now. Help me out." It turns a stressful solo performance into a collaborative game.
That's a massive psychological shift. It takes the pressure off me and makes the other person a partner in the conversation. But what if it's not an object? What if I'm in the middle of explaining an idea or an opinion and I suddenly lose my train of thought? You know, like when you're on a roll talking about your weekend and then poof, the train completely derails.
To lose your train of thought. Excellent idiom usage, James. Look at you go. When the train derails, especially for B1 and B2 learners, the goal changes. You aren't just looking for an object anymore, you are trying to keep the conversation flowing smoothly while your brain reboots. This is where stalling phrases come in. Instead of silence, which creates awkward tension, you use a phrase like, "It's on the tip of my tongue."
Oh, I use that one in my native language all the time. It's on the tip of my tongue. It literally feels like the word is physically sitting right there on the front of your mouth, but it's wearing a disguise and won't let you see its face.
Precisely. When you tell someone, oh, what is that word? It's on the tip of my tongue, you are creating a narrative suspense. You are telling the listener that you are actively searching your mental database. Another fantastic phrase to use in tandem with that is, bear with me for a second.
Oh, bear with me. Like the animal, a grizzly bear? Are we bringing wildlife into the English vocabulary crisis now, Mary?
Not quite, James, though a grizzly bear would certainly make people stop focusing on your vocabulary errors. Bear in this context is an old-fashioned verb that means to endure or to carry a burden. So when you say, bear with me, you are politely asking the other person to be patient with you, to carry the brief weight of the silence while you think. It sounds very professional, very polite, and it completely controls the room.
So if I combine them, I could say something like, the name of the project has just slipped my mind, but bear with me, it's on the tip of my tongue. Wow, that sounds incredibly smooth. It makes me sound like a sophisticated executive who is just temporarily busy rather than a panicked student who forgot his homework.
And that is the secret of fluency, James. Fluency isn't about knowing every single word in the dictionary. That's a myth. Fluency is about how gracefully you manage the gaps between the words you do know. It's about building a bridge over the missing vocabulary instead of falling into the canyon below.
Building a bridge. I really like that image, Mary. Though right now I have to admit, my bridge feels like it's made of old fraying rope and missing a few critical planks. But okay, let's actually put this into practice. Let's say I'm in a real conversation. Can we do a quick role play? You be the boss or a client or a strict interviewer, and let me try to use these tools in real time.
I would love nothing more, James. Let's set a high-stakes scene to really test your nerves. You are in a job interview for a management position. This is a classic B1, B2 level scenario where presentation matters. I am the stern, unblinking hiring manager. I'm going to ask you a tough question about your past experience, and halfway through your brilliant answer, you are going to intentionally let a key word escape you. Ready? Let's go. So, James, tell me about a time you handled a difficult conflict within your project team.
Oh, wow. Okay, immediate performance anxiety, but I can do this. Right. Well, last year, my team was working on a massive digital marketing campaign, and there was a major disagreement between the lead graphic designer and the head copywriter. The designer wanted, he wanted to completely overhaul the look of the landing page, and the copywriter thought it was a bad idea. So I stepped in and I told them that we couldn't make decisions based on personal taste. We needed to focus on oh man, Mary, I'm doing it. My mind just went totally blank. What was the word? The thing we look at to measure success, the data points, the targets.
Freeze right there, James. Time out. Look at what your body's doing. You were looking up at the ceiling like you're searching for inspiration from the office light fixtures. Your voice went up an octave and you started sweating. Reset. Don't panic. Don't look at the floor. Use your stalling phrase. Give me that cool, collected executive confidence. Let's try it again right from the pause.
Okay. Let me reel it back in. Taking a breath. So I stepped in and told them we needed to focus on actually, bear with me for just a moment. The exact technical term has just slipped my mind. Right, the quarterly metrics. We needed to focus purely on the quarterly metrics to make an objective decision.
And scene. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, James. Do you see what happened to the energy in the room there? As the interviewer, I didn't think, oh, look, James has terrible English vocabulary. Not at all. Instead, I thought, James is a poised professional communicator who takes a mindful, deliberate pause before delivering his data. You completely controlled the room by simply saying, bear with me, and acknowledging that the word slipped your mind.
You know, saying it out loud like that actually felt weirdly powerful. Like, instead of pretending to be a perfect, flawless English-speaking robot, I just admitted I'm human, but I did it in a way that kept me in charge of the conversation. But Mary, let's look at the worst-case scenario. What if I genuinely can't remember the word at all? Like, it's not just delayed by 5 seconds, it is completely gone, deleted from the hard drive. What do we do then?
That is the ultimate test, isn't it? When the word refuses to come back even after you stall.
In that case, you pivot from finding the word to describing the word. In linguistics, we call this strategy circumlocution. It sounds incredibly fancy, but it simply means talking around the word.
Talking around it, like taking a scenic verbal detour because the main highway is blocked.
Exactly. If you completely forget the word subway, you don't stop speaking and apologize. You use the words you do know to build a description. You say, the electric train system that runs completely underground in major cities. If you forget the word calculator, you say that small electronic device people use to compute math formulas. You use your active vocabulary to define your missing vocabulary.
Right, sort of like my golden bread curve situation with the croissant earlier today. Although looking back, maybe that detour was a little too scenic.
Well, let's analyze that. The barista understood exactly what you meant, didn't they? That's the entire point of language. True communication is about shared understanding, not achieving a flawless vocabulary score. If you say, the corporate machine that makes the digital files appear on physical paper, everyone in the office knows you mean the printer. It gets the job done dynamically.
That makes total sense. Let's shift gears for a second and look at a casual social situation because the pressure there is different. You're not trying to look like a corporate executive, you just want to fit in. Imagine you're at a crowded Friday night party, chatting with a group of native speakers. You want to recommend a great movie you watched last weekend, but you completely forget the title or the name of the lead actor. How would an A1 or A2 learner handle that naturally without killing the fun vibe?
That is where our placeholder words shine. It keeps the tempo lively. Show our listeners how you deploy it, James.
Oh, I'd probably say something like, oh, have you guys seen that new sci-fi movie? The one starring, what's it called? That incredibly famous actor who was in Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah. The movie with him, it's a total mind-bender.
Spot on. Notice how naturally what's it called fits into casual banter. It doesn't disrupt the high energy flow of a party. It keeps the conversation moving forward. And more importantly, it actually invites the other people to help you. Your friends will almost always jump in to close the gap for you. They'll say, oh, Inception? And you can say, yes, Inception. It turns a moment of vocabulary panic into a shared collaborative moment.
Wow, my biggest mistake in the past was definitely just shutting down completely. The moment a word evaporated, I would panic, freeze, look down at my shoes and say, sorry, my English is very bad. And man, that completely kills the social vibe. It makes things awkward for everyone standing around.
You've hit on something incredibly profound there, James. Apologizing for your language skills when you simply forget a word is actually entirely counterproductive. It draws a massive spotlight to a perceived weakness rather than keeping the focus on the interesting story you're trying to share. Here's the secret. Native English speakers forget words constantly. When a native speaker forgets a word, they never say, incredible apologies, my native English is quite poor today. No, they say, my brain is completely fried today. What do you call it?
Right, they don't question their entire identity as a speaker just because a single noun slipped their mind. They just blame their busy schedule or their lack of sleep or a lack of coffee. I need to start adopting that exact same mindset. Sorry guys, I haven't had my coffee yet. The word has completely slipped my mind. It sounds 10 times more confident.
Precisely. It changes the narrative from I don't know English to I'm experiencing a temporary, completely normal human system glitch. Everyone experiences system glitches, regardless of their native language.
This has been an absolute game changer of a session, Mary. Let's do a quick recap of today's laboratory findings for our listeners tuning in around the world. What is our core survival toolkit?
First, if your mind suddenly goes blank, do not panic and do not apologize. Take a breath. If you're a beginner or in a casual social setting, immediately grab a placeholder word like a what's it called or a what do you call it to bridge the gap and keep the momentum going.
And if you're an intermediate learner or navigating a professional environment, use strategic stalling phrases to buy your brain some processing time. Confidently tell your audience, it's on the tip of my tongue, or ask them politely, bear with me for just a second while I pull up the exact term.
Finally, if the word is truly gone for the day, don't give up. Use circumlocution. Talk around the word. Describe its function, its shape, or its purpose. Make your listener a partner in the conversation.
Beautifully summarized, Mary. Remember, everyone, fluency isn't a flawless memory test. It's the art of managing the gaps gracefully. I definitely feel much better about my next trip to the bakery. No more accidental poetry about golden bread curves for me.
Oh, I don't know, James. I rather liked it. That's all for today's session at the English Clarity Lab. Go practice these phrases this week, embrace the pauses, and we'll see you in the next laboratory session. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. See ya.